Good afternoon, Camp Davy Crockett.
I'm Zeph.
And I'm Hayden.
And I'm James.
And welcome to the Camp Davy Chronicles. How are you, James?
I'm doing great.
That's awesome. Could be some better weather outside than it is currently. It's currently raining.
Quite hard.
I think the funny part is, so we are at our secret location for recording, and up at the main headquarters, it's not raining at all.
Yep.
Or at least it wasn't when I was just there.
We'll head that way a little later then.
Down here underground, there's lots of rain.
Yeah.
You wouldn't guess it, but underground bunkers actually get lots of rain sometimes.
So I've been told. So it sounds like. So if you hear some rain or some static sounds, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not quite as exciting as Jerry's episode where we had a full thunderstorm with a power outage outside.
Oh, yeah. Power cut off while we recorded.
Yeah. All of our favorite people have had a storm, though. So
that's a good sign for this episode.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, we have finally made it to the summer camp season of 2024.
Yeah. It's exciting.
We're on the go.
We are. So I know that you've had like a long history here at Camp Davy Crockett. So what is some of the stuff that you've done over the years that's like been your most exciting of part of your job here?
Well, my first encounter with Camp Davy Crockett was in 1975. I came just for a visit. And one of the funny things that I remember about that is I drove in at about lunchtime, and I drove up by the road right where the dining hall is now, and went up to the parking lot, and these cars sitting in the parking lot. And I thought, where is everybody? There was nobody to be seen anywhere. I parked, get out of my vehicle, and I still hear nothing, see nothing. Nobody's doing anything. And I start walking down the road toward the pool and around by the pool. And just as I turned the curve next to the parade field at that time, I heard them. They were in the dining hall.
Ah.
So the whole crew was in the dining hall at that time. And so that was my first encounter with this camp.
That's awesome. I can only imagine it being your first time at camp and coming in, seeing all those cars and nobody being there. That would be, yeah.
But hey, if it's dinner time, there's only one spot anyone's going to be.
You're right.
Which now you would know when you got there because it'd be right there at the front of camp.
Right. Yeah.
Well, let me add to that, though. That first encounter was so positive with me because I stayed for a while. My reason for being here is I had started a troop in my local community at that time, just shortly before that. And so I was checking things out. And then I brought that troop in 76 and brought it every year until 88.
That's really cool.
Yes. And I was on staff 79, 80, 85, 86, and in 1993, and then came back in 2010 as chaplain, and I'm still here.
We are glad to have you here. One of my first experiences as camp was getting to do the chaplain award, or okay, hold on. Sorry, can I get this right? It's the Compass course, but I can't remember its name.
Chaplain's Challenge.
The Chaplain's Challenge. One of my first memories was doing that and getting to see the joy that you had for the camp and the challenge itself and just everything and how much you were willing to talk, and just because at the time when I was younger, it was hard to talk to people. And so I remember you sitting there in the chapel, and we just had just a conversation. It wasn't anything about anything. We were just talking about random stuff. But that encounter was something that I'll always remember. And that's why you're one of like my favorite camp staff people, is because you're just so down to earth and you're able to talk to people. And it's just, I wake up every morning and I tell you good morning and you tell me good morning back. And that's like I have a bad day when you're not in the dining hall and I can't tell you good morning.
Yeah.
Well, one of my main things in any situation in talking to people is I want to listen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so important that we become good listeners. And sometimes all somebody needs is just to talk for a while and be heard.
Right.
And they want to know they've been heard. And they just need the friendship extended to them. That's important.
Yeah. Well, you do that very well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say a moment ago, is that he's a very, very good listener. And even, I mean, just same as Hayden coming in here as a little kid, it never really felt like, even though I was little and you were old, there wasn't, I never really felt like we were that distant. You were always friendly, and you treated little kids like a friend, just the same as you treat older people like a friend. And you're always friendly, and you're always someone that you can connect with and talk to and have someone to listen to you.
Yeah.
Well, my life has been centered around kids and working with kids, being a teacher, and I've actually taught in all levels in some fashion, from K through 8. I spent some time just subbing in the K area and in the younger areas,
Right.
But I've always been attached to them, though. They're special little kids, and I enjoy that. But and that comes over to what I do here too. I just enjoy being with young people, and I'm encouraged by young people. Young people, there's so many things that are going on in this world that could be negative and are negative, really. But when I see young people stepping up and doing things that encourage us elderly people, that's it keeps you going, and it gives you encouragement.
Right. Yeah. See, I was trying to be nice and not say the old people.
I'm glad I'm so old.
But yeah, that's it's always been a favorite memory of mine, and I've looked forward to having you on the show for a long time because of that, and just getting to talk.
We try to get him on at Christmas time, because the year before we had Dale at Christmas time, and I was thinking, well, we should always have someone that is jolly and has white facial hair every year at Christmas, because that just seems right, And so we had Dale, and we were going to have you, but it didn't work out, so we got. So
Katie.
You
want me to grow a beard, right? It'll be white.
The mustache is close enough. But this is, it's close enough to Christmas.
Right.
Christmas in July.
In June.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on in camp for this past 2 weeks. I know that as the chaplain I heard that you had a pretty busy Wednesday and last week. I think it was either last week or this week. Well, this week hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But I heard that there was quite a few cadets that came up to your chapel service the other night.
We've had a good turnout with that, with the ROTC, and I've been very impressed, and been very impressed with some of the participation that has come out of that, and some really good stories from what's going on here.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with what they do, and I appreciate what they do, the whole program, and they appreciate us, and they let us know that.
Yeah. Now, is this the first year that you've done the chaplain or the chapel for ROTC? I just don't remember that in the past.
No, I have been connected to them from day one, from all the way back to 2010, when they came in. They didn't quite know how to take me to begin with, because they weren't used to having that.
Right.
But it took some time to develop that relationship, but that has grown, and it's a special relationship this time, and will continue to be that.
Well, awesome. I guess it's just where I've been down and busy with my own stuff that I've not noticed, but that's awesome. I thought that it was really cool, and I was really glad to hear that you had some great participation. I can't talk at the chapel service.
And really, the ROTC relationship with the camp in general has grown, and because we used to just have 1 week with ROTC, and now it's 2 weeks, and it's 4 different cycles of schools coming through. So it's gotten to be quite a big program.
Yeah, we
Kind
have
of scary.
the Army ROTC along with the Navy ROTC, and they're all doing their own program.
Right.
And it's been a lot of fun. I tell people that ROTC weeks are some of my favorite weeks to work, not because of the schedule, but because the youth that are here, the cadets, they always, because they're a little older and a little bit more mature, and so you can, pick on them a little bit more. Not that I would be mean or anything, but they can handle it a little bit better and take criticism better when you're talking about how to shoot better and how to bow better and all that kind of stuff.
Hayden specifically asked me to come and visit the ranges one day during the ROTC training to see if he was mean to the cadets, because apparently another staff member was giving him a hard time that he was mean to the cadets. And so I came down to watch him teach, and he's just like teaching normally. I don't know.
See, it is a proven fact that I am not mean to the cadets.
I can't see you being mean. Either one of them.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. You actually tried to come down twice.
I did. But
yeah,
we covered that on the half episode.
Yeah, and we also probably should discuss that. So we had the half episode that went up. That was supposed to go up on Monday of last week, but it did not. It ended up going up on Wednesday of last week, and that's our fault. Well, it's actually my fault. Zeph can take some blame too, but that's actually my fault. Yeah, it's a long story. Yeah. We weren't able to do it.
I mean, originally we were going to do a full episode, and that a lot of stuff just wasn't going to work.
Yeah, it just wasn't meant to be a full episode.
Right.
But it was fun.
But I'm glad because we saved our best guest for first.
Yes.
But so what else has gone on this week? I know that I've been over the ranges. What's gone on the staff training side of things?
Well, we've had mostly all of staff here for the first time of the summer. This week being the second week of ROTC camp is when we bring in the full staff. And so this is kind of the first week that I've really been actually operating in my role as assistant program, and I've been working with all the other directors who are working with all of their staff and trying to make sure that everything is getting ready for scout camp, which is quite a lot to make sure.
You're doing a super job.
Well, thank you. But there's always plenty to get sorted out. So, but at the same time, having all staff here is a joy at the same time, because before they're all here, it's like not all the pieces are there yet, and so we're still waiting to finish the puzzle. But once everyone's here, we have all the pieces, and we just got to build the puzzle, So having everyone here, it's like the whole family. We keep talking a lot this week while we're preparing and doing staff trainings and stuff. We keep talking about how staff is a family and how camp as a whole is a family. But staff is like the smaller family unit in the bigger family. I don't know. Right. But there's plenty of friendship and camaraderie to build, and now that everyone's here, that really gets to flourish.
Right. It's always fascinating when staff comes in, because in my mind I have like the old staff members who have been here for a little while, and I'm like, okay, well, they'll be friends with these people, but it always, that first day, they make those new friendships that you're talking about, and there's a whole other groups that I was like, well, I didn't even think they would hang out, that are formed, and it's always cool to get to see that and how wrong I was about the friendships.
Right. And I think one of the keys to our program is, the success of our program is returning staff. Mm-hmm. We have a good number of that, and that, I think that's very significant.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I had a thought and then I completely forgot it.
You can always bring it up later.
Yeah.
But do we want to go ahead and start off with some of our interview questions?
We can.
We can always circle back to stuff about this week if we think of anything else to mention.
We got to use the very professional napkin that Zeph used.
Yes, I have written all my notes very formally formatted here. So we kind of went over some of your history of being here on camp, but if you could briefly introduce again sort of who you are and the different positions that you've worked on staff.
Okay. I came on staff in 1979 as program director, and I was the program director for 79 and 80, Just to be honest with you, I was scared to death. I'd never done anything quite like that, but I had a lot of help and everything went well. And we had some very significant things happen in those 2 years. But everything turned out okay. And then in 85 and 86, I was back on staff again as commissioner, and everything went well that year. And I was still working with some very special friends, and in 93, I was back on staff again. And one of the significant things about that year is that Ron Cameron was the camp director. And really, I give him credit for me being back here now, because I'd taken a break after 94 from scouting, and in 2007 I was invited to rejoin, and in 2009 I was on the staff at the day camp in Nottowshekee District, and Ron came by for a visit. And we became reacquainted. We had not seen each other since 93. And we became reacquainted. And he said to me, "James, why don't you come back on staff at Camp David Crockett?" And I said, "Well, do you need a chaplain?" And so one thing led to another. And I was busy with other things for 2009 and was not able to come on staff that summer. I was busy with church activities and youth camp and that kind of thing. But in 2010, I came down and started my role as a chaplain, and I'm still here. But I've missed some things, because of health and various things in the COVID year. But other than that, I've been able to be here, and I just love the place, and I want to, do everything I can to contribute what I can to make it a better place.
No. Well, that's awesome.
You certainly have.
Yeah, I cannot imagine camp without you. There's a lot of you, like Earl and you and Randy, and the older people.
Let me just say a word about them then while you brought that up. Last summer, of course, that I was having some health issues. And the big thing about that was my doctor did not want me to drive. And, I drive home and drive back down here every day, and living just 20 miles away. And Randy and Earl and Zeph picked up the slack there last summer and chipped in there. And Dennis Dutton was another one that came in there to help. And I was encouraged to come and do what I could do. And my wife was gracious enough to make sure that I got down here. She would drive me down a couple days a week, and I was able to participate and be here and at least visit and that kind of thing. But I was here for every horseshoe tournament. And that was very, very special, because that's one of the times that I really enjoy the camaraderie with people and everything, and being able to just have a friendly time together, and we have a great time together. And,
for those of you who don't know, every Friday, James hosts a horseshoe tournament for the Scoutmasters. It's not the same time as Hillbilly Golf, is it? Or is it before?
It is, but we work around that. We make it work.
Okay, because there's lots and lots of different competitions that go on Friday for Scouts and Scoutmasters, so you never know what's going to be happening at the same time. But
it's just affected with the first hole.
Okay.
When they tee off, we just get out of the way until they tee off.
But Hillbilly Golf and the horseshoes are both some of our most beloved camp traditions for Scoutmasters, especially. So we always appreciate James being there for horseshoes.
Yeah, Scoutmasters come in constantly, and they're like, "Are you gonna have horseshoes and hillbilly golf?" That's the only thing. That's the only reason they come to camp.
Well, I was glad I could get here last year to do that, and it just meant a lot to be able to stay connected, and to, the leadership of the camp was encouraging to me. Dale and JD, they just wanted me to be involved, and they actually made the call to me to come staff week and help to do the session on counseling, and that's what somewhat got me and giving me the drive to continue to do what we did last summer, and it was. It was discouraging not to be able to be here and doing everything, and I'm struggling some this summer, but I'm able to come and do what I can, and I feel appreciated for that. So,
Yeah, that's good. Like I said, I can't imagine camp without you. I remembered my earlier thought that I was going to mention. This didn't happen this week, but it was something that happened. I think it was last year, and it was awesome. So the group of y'all, like Zeph named you, the older people, Earl and you and Randy and Michael and Dale, I think, and JD, but they went and did flags.
Oh yeah.
All of y'all went down and did flags, and I think you were the caller.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got the video that we will have to post that because your wife sent it to me.
Yeah, we never did post that.
Yeah, I finally got it, and so we will have to post that. But that is one of the coolest videos of camp because it's the group. I mean, it's just always. I've watched it a bunch of times. Went back and watched it because
I don't remember why I missed that.
Yeah,
but maybe I was just late to flags. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I remember Earl or somebody was like, we should go down and do flags, and then you all were like, yeah, let's go down and do flags.
We were referred to as the old timer group.
And that was really cool to get to see y'all go down there and do the flags. And so, but
I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that. That was something that doesn't often happen. And it's a cool memory that I will cherish forever.
You should do it again. Every year.
But that was my thought from earlier. Okay. So now that I have the napkin of questions, I will ask. So let's see. So on camp, what is your favorite campsite or shelter?
Or both.
Or yeah, both.
Say that again now.
What is your favorite campsite? And then what is your favorite shelter?
Well, I have some very vivid memories of Wolverine.
Okay.
Even though it's not with us anymore.
I'm not sure we've gotten that answer before.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, my vivid memory of that is that in 1976, we drove in with our equipment on the back of my truck and had my troop here, and we unloaded everything that we had on that truck in that parking lot at headquarters.
Oh, man.
And we toted it to Wolverine campsite. And when we were ready to leave at the end of the week, we toted it back to the truck from that campsite. We were not allowed through the gate with any vehicle. Now, I think at some point they made arrangements for people to actually have access to a tractor trailer being driven by one of the staff, one of the older staff here on and to help out with. But that year, that didn't happen for us, and I've always remembered that as a special memory, really. But honestly, I don't remember the boys that I had complaining. We just did it, and we got there and got it done.
Yeah.
That's impressive, honestly.
Yeah, that is a tall hill to walk all your stuff up.
If you're wondering where Wolverine is, because we don't use it anymore, if you know where Gray Squirrel and the Pine Shower House are, it's further up that hill, like in the woods behind them. So it's quite a ways away from the parking lot.
Yeah. I'd compare it to like the shooting sports road to headquarters length of hill, like the right there beside the dining hall, the new dining hall, and about that steep. So you're carrying all your stuff up that hill, plus the distance from the parking lot to that hill.
Right.
That's
and especially
impressive.
to not have your scouts complain about that.
Yeah.
I'd be very proud of those scouts.
Well, it was a favorite memory, but that day it might not have been my favorite catch night, But anyway, it worked out well, and we got through it, and it taught us a lesson.
Well, cool. So, what is your favorite like program shelter?
Well,
I have a guess.
I'm not sure if you're putting this in that category or not, but the chapel obviously.
I count it.
Place to be.
That was my guess.
But honestly, there are times when I just need a little time to go and have some time to meditate and pray and study a little bit, and that's where I go. I go there and I just sit up there by myself and have a beautiful view and just have that time alone with God and just enjoy the what He's created there.
The chapel is, so I've always found this really fascinating with the chapel. There's almost like a bubble around it because you can go up to the chapel and you still hear camp noises, the kids screaming and running around and having fun, but it's almost like it's dampened. And it just everything just seems to kind of slow down for a little bit. And like you said, there's an amazing view out there and it's just a good place to sit and relax for a little bit. It's odd because no other building on camp does that. It's just right there at the chapel.
But it's in a good location for that, and I know I have one picture that I didn't make it, but I have one picture of the chapel with a double rainbow off to the side. And it is just awesome and I cherish that picture.
That's awesome.
I've always loved sitting at the chapel. If you've never sat at the chapel by yourself or just with a few people, just looked out over the lake, make sure you get a chance to do that this summer. You will not regret it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So now my next question is, what cheers you up on a bad day?
Well, first of all, turning to God would be number one, of course. I will find a time to pray and ask His guidance and then shortly or related to that at least would be friendship. The friendship of those around me and that kind of thing. An encouraging word by someone, and just meditating upon what God has given us that we have to enjoy, and knowing that He is close no matter what. That we would get such comfort from that. Reading the Bible is another thing that can be a part of that. I like to find scriptures that are encouraging and uplifting, and I turn to that a lot. And so, just my relationship with God in general, and what He has provided me in friendship with so many other people that encourage me on a daily basis. That gets me through.
Awesome.
Great answer.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was just thinking. That's a well thought out answer.
I mean, I was thinking like ice cream or something.
Well, speaking of ice cream, what is your favorite snack or candy of some sort to have?
Oh, me. Hershey bar is the favorite candy, but I like ice cream.
Can't go wrong with either one.
And strawberry. I like strawberry ice cream.
Well, I think real quick, Do you want to take a break for the word of the day?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you
Okay.
have a word for us today, James?
The word of the day.
The word of the day. Yeah.
The word of the day is Zeph.
Okay.
If you don't like the way I do it yourself.
I like that.
It's a good one. Try it and make sure you use that in a sentence today, sometime. Everyone listening at home. And then, what about the joke of the day? I'm not sure if we can handle both of them at the same time, but we can brace ourselves.
Well, on the way down here today, I was following a truck. It was loaded with boxes. And I just was taking my time with it, just following along, not trying to pass him or anything like that. And I noticed one of the boxes sort of wobbling a little bit. And I thought, man, that's going to come off of there. It's going to fall off the truck. And so it did.
Oh.
Fell off.
Oh, no.
And I stopped. And it was close enough over to the side of the road that, I wasn't going to hit it or anything. But I did stop. I thought, well, I need to try that flash. I was flashing my lights, tooting my horn, all that kind of stuff. And I couldn't get the fellow to stop. He just didn't see me. I thought, well, turn my flashers on and we'll be safe about everything, and so I get out and I walk up and I pick it up and it's really light. And it's not sealed real good. So I could see inside it, but I just went ahead and lifted up and inside that box was a toe. I tell you now, that just sort of took my breath. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I thought about it for a little while, and I thought, well, there's nothing else to do but call a tow truck.
I think that's the truck that was in front of you.
That was good.
Man, what a plot twist.
So real quick before we get back into our interview questions, I think there's also something else we need to address, and that's the camp staff swag that you all have on.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So I don't have it on because I was mowing and I've not done laundry yet, and so I'm going to have to do laundry tonight, but I didn't have a clean shirt and I didn't want to smell bad, even though I still probably do. But Zeph has on our official camp staff gray t-shirt, which is really cool. And then James has on probably the best camp director shirt that we've ever made, I think.
I love it.
It has a colored logo.
Yeah.
If you can't see it, it's got a colored logo. It's green. I mean, the shirt is gray, just like the t-shirt. And then we have a green and blue and white camp logo on the pocket, above the pocket. And it looks so sharp. It looks so good.
Yeah. And it's Columbia brand. And so it's like soft. It's nice.
Especially with James wearing it, it looks extra good.
The only thing, and it's not a complaint, it's just a comment, is that on the old director shirt, the logo was on the same side. And so I've looked down for the logo a couple times when I've been wearing it. And I've realized,
it switched sides. I didn't even notice that. The logo, oh, man.
But I thought I was wearing the wrong shirt a couple times because I would look down and be like, oh, no. And then realize it's just on the other side.
Also this year, we've got name badges with our pictures on them.
Wow.
Which a very highly skilled photographer whose name rhymes with Jaden Guevara took all of our pictures. I think I said that same thing in the video with Mike.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. He took the pictures, and they're very good. They got printed for us somewhere. I don't know, probably the council.
Yeah,
Anthony took care of all that, so I don't know, because that doesn't happen on camp. But they look pretty good. They look pretty snazzy.
They do. Directors is silver or gray, and then normal staff is blue.
Oh, it's green.
Green, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, okay, I was like, are we, one of us is colorblind?
No,
or
council staff is blue.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of like the green ones better. I'm like, all the camp staff, but, they can have something nicer than the directors. That's fine.
So we can go back to asking some questions. So we asked your favorite snack. Well, you didn't ask a question. You asked.
Oh, no, I just did
You
word
want
of
the
day.
specs?
Well,
You can.
I did. You do something now.
Okay. So, James, if you could be any animal, what animal would you want to be?
Just for a day. So it doesn't have to be permanent change or anything.
Probably a dove.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
It's a fly.
There's so much significance to that.
Yeah.
To that bird, and you know, it's a symbol of peace, and that's what I like to be about.
I don't know that I've ever seen a dove in like real life.
Well, we don't. I mean, I've not seen like a pure white dove. But
Right.
There's different kinds that are around that aren't like. I don't know if pigeons technically are doves, but they're related to them. There's like if you see another bird that's kind of shaped like a pigeon, it's probably a type of dove. But yeah,
we established a couple episodes ago. Ever since I taught bird study, I've never seen a bird since then.
There's certainly not true anymore. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, what was funny, we were working around camp, and there was a herd of birds, a flock of birds that flew over, and Zeph saw them, and I just happened to be doing something. And he was like, "Did you see those birds?" And I was like, "No."
Did you see at the dining hall the other day all the water birds on the lake? No. It was a couple nights ago at dinner time. There was I don't know why Dale had said he'd never seen it before either, but there was like a whole bunch of ducks and geese and herons just all like flocking around the lake. It was like half the water was covered in birds, and they were acting like
I've seen that one time.
Yeah.
And it was amazing the number that came into that area there below the dining. Oh, I was at the chapel at the time when that happened.
That's awesome.
They came in there, and it was all kinds, ducks and geese and all kinds of water birds. Just landed on the water there for a few minutes, and I was just in awe. And all of a sudden, just up and gone.
Yeah, they weren't there long the other day either. Yeah. They were just because when we got there for class, they weren't there, and then when we were coming out to go eat on the porch, they were all everywhere. Yeah. And then a few minutes later, they were gone. Yeah. Just spontaneous bird party.
I wonder if it's because that cove is not normally full, and so with the lake filling, the fish are in it. Mm-hmm. And that's just where all the fish are. I don't know.
Did they all figure it out at the same time though? And then they just ate all the fish that fast and then they're gone.
Well, I assume that birds are like us and they talk. And so
probably
one duck found out and then they flew away and told all the rest of the birds.
Makes sense. Or a dove.
No, maybe.
Dove told them.
Yeah.
Do doves land on water?
No.
I don't think so.
All right. Here's another question for you, James. What is your favorite class that you have taken or taught at summer camp? Or just anyone in particular that you've enjoyed, if you can't pick a favorite.
Outside of what I do in the chaplain role, I was asked to do. Is it fire prevention? Is that the merit?
Fireproof, yeah.
Is that what it's called? I can't remember for sure what it's called. But I was asked to do that one, and I really enjoyed that. It was a little challenging to work that in and everything. But I did that. I may have done it 2 summers. I can't remember for sure, but I remember doing that, and I enjoyed it. I had somebody every week. I remember to take that class, and it was just a good experience for me in doing that.
Yeah,
and, I really enjoyed it.
Well, cool. So we talked about some camp stories earlier with the campsite and the other stuff. So, but what are a couple of your favorite camp stories? It doesn't have to be one. It can be as big as you'd like to tell, because we love to hear stories. And so what is some of your favorite camp stories?
Okay, I'll start out with the more pleasant one. In 1980, our camp directors, or our camp ranger, of course, was Frank Bowman. Mm-hmm. And Frank was the first ranger here. And Frank was a very special person to me, taught me so much. And his son came to visit that summer. And I understand he may have been here just 2 or 3 years ago. I think just been like a couple years ago, maybe 3. And I did not get to see him while he was here because no one realized I knew him. And but anyway, he was here visiting. And at that time, we had one phone for us to use in this camp. And it was up here at the ranger's house in the little part that's off to the side of the driveway there.
Yeah.
That
Wait,
little
like
room.
the original camp studio?
So I came out to use the phone, and he was sitting in that little area there. And I talked to him for a little bit and just got acquainted with him and everything. We talked about his dad and mom a little bit, you know, how special they were. And I started to walk away back to my vehicle. And it just hit me. I turned around and I said, has anybody ever said to you how much you look like Dennis Weaver? You know, Chester from Gunsmoke, McLeod. You know what I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about.
And
Earl taught me
he said,
who that is.
He said, yes. The people, you know, say sometimes to me, you know, you look just like Dennis Weaver. I said, well, would you be up to I don't remember if I called it a practical joke or not, but anyway, to pulling something on the campers. And he said, why, yes. So to make a long story short, we worked it all out, and I made some notes about things about his role in the movies he'd been in and that kind of thing, and made some notes. And so on Friday evening, at that time, everybody gathered in the grassy area out at the end of the trail that went to the campfire area. You gathered there, and the OA let everybody down. So what we did is I worked it out with a person who was a photographer and a person who was a newspaper reporter to interview him. And so what we did, and the neat thing about this, though, is that I made the notes and put in my desk drawer in the office up there, and one of the staff members saw those notes. So the word was already out that Dennis Weaver was coming to camp to visit. And so on the day of that visit, his girlfriend drives him in a white Trans Am, fancy car, new car. We go right down about halfway down the little trail there by the pool, where you would straight up to the campfire trail. And I meet him at the car. He gets out. I shake his hand, and we got a fellow clicking. And so we walk up through, and a few people sort of, you know, bug eyes, and I probably introduced him to, I don't remember for sure about that part, but this was in 1980. And we go on down to the camp, and we see him on the front, and at the appropriate time in the campfire, I get up and introduce him as Dennis Weaver. And the fellow from the newspaper comes up on stage and interviews him, and his story was that he was in the area checking out a site for a new movie he was going to make, and, that he was going to be a part of. And, you know, people got his autograph. and as he was coming out, they stopped him and get his autograph. And the next day, my 2 sons were here. They were young, really young. And they were out riding their bicycles out here on the road somewhere, and he was just walking around the road. And they come up to him, Dennis Weaver, you know, and he was one that told me about them doing this, and, you know, could we get your autograph? And it was really a neat little, you know, thing. It's such a pleasant memory for me.
Did they ever find out?
Never did reveal it to anybody. I probably am now, though, right? Oh, yeah.
Someone's listening to this
Yeah.
right now. Be like,
Yeah.
what?
They've got a prized possession.
Oh, I was there. I can't believe you did that.
We're gonna get hate mail now.
Oh man,
that is funny.
so you said that was one of them. Did you have another favorite camp
Okay.
story?
Well, this was a critical one.
Okay.
In 1979, my first year on staff, the very first week, I had been at camp school that week before. Well, that was actually the first week of camp when I was at camp school. And I come back, and at that time we had mobile homes out where just above where the cabin is that Jerry
Right.
lives in now. And that's where my home was at that time. And so we, of course, get everybody in on Sunday, and then on Monday morning, I get up early and I go in right there at the gate in front of the headquarters building. I meet one of the counselors of the group that we had at that time, and during staff week we had handicapped people here for camp, and the fellow met me at the gate, and he said, "We have a camper gone this morning." So we immediately put a search into place and that kind of thing. That search lasted all day, and we looked. I mean, we had the helicopters in, we had all the ground people in here, that you would have, law enforcement, EMS, the whole bit. And but just at dusty dark, our camp director was driving up a little, like a logging road off camp, some distance up off camp, and he just happened to see something that caught his eye, just like a flash or something like that. He stops his car, and he gets out and starts up this trail. And just a little distance up the trail, he found the boy.
Oh.
And what had happened is he started up that trail. Now, he'd been wandering around all day, and he started up that trail, and there was some barbed wire on the ground that had just fallen down, just like a fence had fallen down, and he got his pant leg caught in that barbed wire, and it tripped him up.
Oh.
And that's what kept him from going on up. And so it's very fortunate that he was able to find him, and it was just almost dark at that time. And so that, is a success story in the end. But it was a very traumatic, not a very good way for me to start my career as a staff member from camp.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure.
But I'm so thankful that it turned out the way it did.
Right. I'm sure that can be stressful. I was talking to, I think might have been Zeph or JD, and having those moments of when you have a lost camper, because they're lost as far as can be very stressful. But I'm happy that we had a practice code blue the other day. It was Tuesday, and we were able to find the lost camper in 7 minutes. Mm-hmm. Which was pretty good. They try to shoot for right under 10 minutes or less. But I'm sure it's a stressful situation, but it's a happy ending, so that's what matters.
Yeah.
So, okay, good question.
Yeah. All right. Now, this is the question we got from our previous guest, which was Katie Jones at the council office. She asked, "What is a new adventure that you want to have this year?"
Are you talking in reference to camp, or is that wide open?
Anything you want to do that never done before.
Well, my wife and I, in recent years, have been taking bus tours, and we have looked at possibly later in this year 2 different options that we would consider. And of course, a lot of that depends on my ability to handle the trip, that kind of thing. So we've got to consider that with my health issues. But and again, I don't want to focus on that because God is He is making me stronger, and He's keeping me doing what I cherish to do. But the two options are Key West and Branson, Missouri.
Mm.
And the one that we feel that I can probably better handle is Branson.
Yeah.
And now it would be different to what we've done before because we have been there. We drove there ourselves. So that would be a different trip with the tour bus and that kind of thing. But that would be a great trip, and it'd be a great adventure.
Yeah.
Key West is someplace I have had a desire to visit, and so maybe someday get to do that.
Well, that'd be awesome. Both trips sound like they were going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we've got one final question on our list. What is a question for our next guest? Because you're going to ask them a question. So what is that question?
Describe a special friendship you have developed at Camp David Crockett.
Oh, that's a good question. So if you had to answer that question, what would you say?
Well, there's so many. You see, I've got a list here. And Frank Bowman, I can never say enough about Frank. And I've said it before. That first year, he liked to work me to death. Since he was a go-getter, I'm telling you, and not that others are not, but Frank was just, he had such a love for this camp and everything. But things were different then, and we had, that particular year, we did not have the advantage of OA having set up camp. Because it rained that weekend. So when we came in staff week, it was pretty much our job to do it. And we did. And at that time, we put up the tents with a ridge pole and upright poles and staked them and all of that kind of stuff. So, but Frank was right there with us and doing everything possible to, make it as pleasant for us as possible, and I've always cherished his friendship, and there are others that that rank in there too, but he's one that I just cherished what he taught me and what he did for this camp in the many years he was here.
Right, I have to agree. Like Zeph said earlier, camp is, especially camp staff, because we're here for almost 2 months, becomes such a family. And there's a ton of friendships that I cherish and, would feel like I would be a completely different person if I didn't have those. And so I agree. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you have like a specific friend that...
Well, James would be one.
Yeah.
One of the phrases that I associate with James is very special friend, because he describes a lot of people that way. And it's a phrase that's become sort of seared into my memory. And so when I think about really camp in general and about James and his influence here, I always think of that phrase, and I can hear James' voice saying it, and just all the very special friends that we have down here.
Yeah. So I think that's going to wrap up what we have for this week. Do you have anything else to say?
Did you have a thought of the day?
Oh, I did not have a thought of the day. I completely forgot that was thought of me.
That's okay.
Do you have any words of wisdom to end us off with?
Well, I would just like to wind this up by saying, love God, love others, and love self. That's what the Scout Oath is about. And that's what really we're taught to do in our faith.
I think that's wise.
That's as good a way as any to end this.
Okay. It's a great day to be a scout at Camp Davy Fun.
Bye.
Bye.
He always has to say bye last.
Camp Davy Chronicles. It's a podcast about Camp Davy Crockett.